Pagepedia, the global data system of information. It is with utmost humility and sincerity that we present Professor Adeyemo Elebute, the chairman of IGEA Nigeria Limited, as a living testament and recollection of history in the making in our generation.
We are heroes of our nation. We are heroes of our land. Pagepedia, celebrations of champions.
Well, I am Adeyemo Elebute. I've been a surgeon all my life, and I worked in Nigeria at UCH Ibadan when I first came back as a trained surgeon at the end of 1960. And I worked in UCH till 1962 when the Lagos University Teaching Hospital was established, and we were invited. I was one of those invited to come down to Lagos to help to open the teaching hospital here. I worked in the teaching hospital and medical school till 1981 when I retired, and then went into private medical practice. And my wife is also a doctor, a professor of physiology. The two of us worked together to start the hospital called Lagoon Hospital, originally in Apapa. But we have expanded the idea of the hospital to be a healthcare organization that covers a very wide spectrum. We increased the number of hospitals under that name, but we actually embedded the hospitals into a health maintenance organization called IGEA, which we call IGEA. IGEA is the goddess of health, the Greek goddess of health. And we chose that name because we thought it encompassed a very wide idea of healthcare. The Health Maintenance Organization, or for short, the HMO, is still functioning well, and the hospitals we have a hospital in Ikeja, plus a clinic, and we have 2 clinics in Victoria Island. So under this spectrum, we are able to give health care to a very wide range of people. And recently, both my wife and I gave ourselves a retirement in stages. We started maybe about 10 years ago, withdrawing step by step from the organization, and I think finally we have retired now fully. The organization is now under the management of a consortium of investors, which include a group from Holland, a group from Switzerland, and a group from Mauritius, and they are now running the group, but with Nigerian medical and healthcare staff. Some of the healthcare staff, particularly the very senior doctors, are doctors, specialist doctors who have returned from UK, in other words, from diaspora, to come and help to develop healthcare in Nigeria. And they have done fantastically well in developing further the care that is available in this spectrum of healthcare organizations.
Everyone is born for a purpose. Professor Adeyemo Elebute reveals his life's purpose.
My purpose on earth is to start with, is to do as much good as I can to all the people that I meet and that I come across in various fields. In fact, I started when I was at school thinking that I would be a clergyman, but then I got rather fascinated by the career of a very famous Nigerian surgeon who became the head of the medical services, the government medical services in Nigeria, became the first African to head those services, by the name of Sir Samuel Manua, a very brilliant doctor, surgeon, and administrator. So I was still in school when I came across this name, and I studied the career, what he had done, when he had done what he did, and decided that I was going to be like him. It was at that point that I now started to concentrate on the study of the sciences. And by the time I left school in 1948, by the way, I was a pupil of the CMS Grammar School, Lagos. And by the time I left in 1948, I was fully determined to not just be a doctor, but to be a surgeon. And I started by working at the pathology department on Broad Street, which was attached to the General Hospital, Lagos. And from then, I was admitted to the University of Dublin, Trinity College, where I studied medicine. Following that, I was employed by the university to be a junior teacher in the Department of Anatomy, from which I then came back to Nigeria, spent some time at the University College Hospital before the main building was completed, and I enjoyed that period, but went back to England to train as a surgeon. In my training, I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to work with a number of very competent and very well-known surgeons. I think the most spectacular of them was Professor Ian Aird, who was then the professor of surgery at the postgraduate medical school in London. And he was a name that should be well known in Nigeria because he separated a Siamese twin two babies joined together who were born here in Nigeria, in the northern part of Nigeria, and we were transported to London, and he was able to separate them. In fact, one of them did not survive, but the one that survived became a nurse, and that was a very interesting story. Having trained under people like this, I was able to pass my exams and come back to Nigeria. In those days, when most people, most of my generation, when they went to abroad to study, whether either undergraduate or postgraduate studies, as soon as they finished, they were coming home. At that time, it was very attractive to come back to Nigeria quickly, to be part of the development of the newly independent Nigeria. So I would say that my purpose has been to work in Nigeria as a surgeon and to provide or produce the best quality of healthcare that one can produce for Nigerians.
What legacy would Professor Adeyemo like to leave behind?
Well, I would like to be remembered as having done my level best in healthcare, because that is where I have spent most of my time. But also, I have realized that there is more to life than being a doctor or a surgeon, and I have been able to study other aspects of life. For example, I have been interested, when students graduate in university, we say that we are graduating them because they have been worthy in character and learning. Now, really and truly, we do very little in the university to develop their character. Yes, I think most universities in Nigeria do ensure that their students are well versed in learning whatever area of knowledge that they have picked. But we do not really do much to ensure that they have the correct character to help to develop the society in which they live. And I've spent a good bit of time studying this area and trying to see whether it can be well developed. So I have produced a book which I titled Worthy in Character and Learning. It is not totally all about that subject, but it is the subject that I want to put forward to the world through that book. I've also I've spoken about the private healthcare organizations that my wife and I established. When we started withdrawing, my wife decided to put together a book on the experience in the private healthcare and what we have tried to contribute. And I helped in producing that book. So that is also an achievement for my family. Also, I have come across a great, I won't say Nigerian, a great pre-Nigerian who lived in the 19th century in Lagos and really worked very hard for the development of Lagos in every way. So I've studied that and put it down in a book, hoping that particularly the return to the study of history in Nigerian schools declared by the current Federal Minister of Education. Individuals like this will be studied and will be copied by growing children and young adults, because he really worked very hard. He was in politics, in philanthropy, in his entrepreneurship. He is really distinguished. His name is James Pinson Labulo Davis, and it's a name that has hardly been heard by any group in Nigeria, whereas he's a great Nigerian.
As a word of advice to the younger generation, Professor Adeyemo says,
I think two things. One is that they should work very hard. They should be very clear in their minds right from, I would say, the end of primary school or the end of junior secondary school. They should be clear in their mind what they like to spend their life on, and prepare themselves for this. And as they grow, I think they should, their character, they should look after their character. In other words, all these problems that we have at present should be reduced by clear development of character. So it is the development of each and every person's character that has produced the determination to look after their brothers, to be their brothers' keepers. And I think this is what we should, I will advise that all our young people develop in this way, not only for their own success and their own good, but also for the welfare of the society at large.
For the Pagepedia Videography Challenge, Professor Adeyemo Elebute nominates the following people whose lives are worthy of emulation.
Professor Lucas and Professor Akinkugbe Oke-Enelama is Minister of Trade and Investment. Yes. And Mr. Fola Adeola, the co-founder of GTB.
This information is accurate as of 31st October 2016 and does not reflect subsequent edits. This recording is distributed under the terms of pagepedia.com.